Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Let me just call
Uh,
my chat up because unfortunately Streamlabs has done some nasty little changes and you can no longer see the chat directly from Streamlabs. Uh, Welcome, everybody. I've got Andy with me from Elemental Encounters, as
Hello,
usual.
all.
Just bear with me a second. I'm just quickly rolling me. Oh, thank you, Sheila. I'm just quickly rolling me a cigarette while we start. I'm going to use the full deck again tonight rather than just using the Major Arcana. Use the same format as usual where we do the four card spread. Uh, Sometimes it will relate to past, present, future, etc. But sometimes I do get the readings where I feel they're actually all in relation to a particular item. Nice to see you all here. So just give me a second to start shuffling. Kaya, you don't need to chew the cards, thank you. It's alright, my Shivarina is after the bloody cards. I'll just give him a quick shuffle. Who's first on the list, Andy?
Number one on the list is Tara.
Tara Bell.
Hmm.
Okie dokie. I'll just give him a good shuffle. Um, like I say, the format tonight will be again, we'll do roughly 2 hours of readings, depending on how many people are in. Um, then we'll have a general chat after the readings are finished. I've got one interesting story to tell you. And I suppose Andy might have some things he wants to cover with you as well. But I've got quite a funny story to tell you once the card reading's over. Hi, Sam. That everybody, including Andy, thought was funny except me. Right, let's start with the first one then. I will rearrange them in a minute. Okay. Right, Tara, you got past, present, future, final outcome. Um, that's interesting. Two swords. Right,
Mm.
you got two swords in the reading. Swords are the suit that signifies the mind. So I always say, whichever suit is actually dominant in the pack is in the spread is the one that tends to be where we should concentrate. So for me, it's actually going to be more of an intellectual reading. This is to do with the mind, not the emotions, or even though money's included in it and stuff. Right, we'll start in the past. What you've got there is the Ten of Pentacles, which obviously the Pentacles represent material wealth, business, things like that. Um, I don't know whether you can see it very well because I've had to use the wide angle lens on the camera and it does blur things up close. Um, there's actually a tower in the background which is drawing me towards it, and um, I think in the this is something that's happened recently. I don't know whether it's concerning holidays or a trip or a trip, some kind of excursion that's involved money. You've been somewhere recently, or recently you've been thinking about going somewhere that involves money. But it links into the Three of Cups, which is a card of the emotions, and sorry, the Seven of Cups, which is Eight of Cups, which is a card of emotions. And again, there's a person on that card. I don't know whether you can see it very clearly, but he's actually walking away with his staff. So these two cards combined together, it's something to do with a journey, a moving forward that has started recently and is currently going on now. Um, I think there's something going on at the moment that you may be finding a bit of a slog with. Um, I don't think it's overly tedious, overly bad, but I think there's something to do with a journey you're on at the moment, or travelling through something new. But you're actually finding at the moment that it's starting to get a bit on top of you. You know, I think you feel there's a feeling that it's coming on. It's been going on for too long because it's come from your recent past and it's coming into your future. Um, because it then links on to your actual future card, which is the Ten of um, Swords. Which another strange thing about this reading is tens are always very significant cards in each suit because they're the last of the normal suits before you go on to what they class as the royal cards of the suit. So that they always indicate a very important factor regarding that. Again, I'm getting a bit of a conflict with this journey. There's going to be a bit of an inner struggle with whatever it is that's going on with you at the moment, Tara. It's a really, really strange one because the first two are definitely signifying movement from the past into the present, and it is an intellectual sort of thing. It's not an emotional journey. It's more a journey of the mind. If you understand what I'm saying. Oh, Alison's my neighbour, by the way. Um, So it is definitely some kind of intellectual movement. It's more a journey. It's a thought process. It's a changing of opinions or some kind of change within the mind. But it is going to lead to some kind of conflict. Um, and if you're not careful, because your final outcome is the Nine of Swords, which again is the other intellectual card and follows and is the one directly preceding the 10. It's telling you to be very, very careful what you're doing with this decision, Tara. Because if you make the wrong decision, and I can't tell you what's the right and what's the wrong, but if you make the wrong decision, it's going to have implications for you mentally, mental health wise. I ain't saying you're going to go loopy or crazy or nothing like that, but mentally, it's not going to be a positive path for you to take. There's there's definitely conflict here between with this movement. It's movement into conflict, and then what it's saying. The final card is actually a warning card. Be very, very careful what you do here because it's a thinking process that you've literally got to think about. Um, and you will if you make the wrong decision, it will be a massive regret for you, a massive, massive regret. Um, that's basically all I can tell you off this reading because it was a bit of a funny one, but there's definitely this intellectual decision coming up, um, and you're going to find it's a struggle, Tara. It's going to be a difficult decision. It's not going to be one of them things where you think, oh well, I ain't bothered, I can just do this or do that. There's something and it's happening now. It's been happening and it's happening now. But at the moment, it's getting to the point where you're probably feeling it's it's been going on a bit too long. It's a bit of a slog, and you want to turn your back on it and move on. That is what I'm getting off that guy with his back turned towards the card, and he's plodding on with his stick, and he's plodding on away from the cups, which is the emotion, which is an emotional card, and what that says to me is you've got to detach from the emotional side of this decision. You've got to walk away from your emotions and you've got to think about it logically. But now's the time to be thinking about it logically because it's going to cause you a lot of mental and I know I say it's going to cause you a lot of mental anguish. I don't get the feeling that whatever this decision is going to be horrible, but it will have a big impact if you make the wrong decision. But please, just please, whatever your heart said, this is definitely saying don't go with your heart on this one, go with your head. And I hope that helps. That's the best I can do with it, unfortunately, Tara. That's just what I'm getting off them. So there you go. Is that okay with that, Andy?
Yep.
That was a funny one, that one.
Wow.
Mental conflict. But I just wanted to get through to her that she ain't going to end up in a nut house or anything like that.
Well, that's it. That's it.
But I do believe that whatever it is that's going on, it's been going on for a bit. Just give me a second. I'll turn the what's it on because I forgot to turn the what's it on. And if Becky decides that wants to gamble, are they going to be able to? Yeah, it was definitely, you know, very much in the mental realm, that one.
Mm.
But because there was no major arcana in there anyway, you know, that to me signifies that there's nothing drastic to worry about. But you know, there'd be a lot of regret if she does make the wrong decision. And
Yeah.
it was saying clear as a bell, you know, it had got to be a head, not an heart decision. Right, who's next?
It's Sheila.
Sheila. Okay.
Hmm?
I always think of Australians when I hear the name
Yeah,
Sheila.
same, yeah. Makes me think of Aussie, man.
You know, you shouldn't really, should you? Because I've actually got an aunt who's called Sheila, but for some reason it always makes me think of Australia. Yes, I have to look at the screen so I can see that I'm lining them above your picture and they're fitting on here, alright.
Right, yeah.
Ooh, okay. Um, right, Sheila. Past, present, future, and final outcome. Um, right, we'll start with the past. Right, the Queen of Cups for me always represents a woman um, who's very much of the heart. So it's somebody who's close to you, mother figure, mother, sister, aunt, best friend type person. This is relating to specifically. Somebody who's been very significant in your recent past. I get the impression by looking at her that it's actually a woman who hasn't been either in the best of health or in the best of moods lately, is the best way to put it. Um, I'd even go as far as to say possible slight depression. Um, but I don't think this card represents you. I honestly think it represents a female within your circle of acquaintance. But it would be mother, aunt, sister, you know, or friend, something like. But a female. It's got to be a female. Definitely a female. They are very important here, and they have. Oh God, can you just talk a sec so I can answer Jace?
Yeah, no worries.
Cheers, Andy. Sorry about this, Sheila.
He'll be back in a minute, Sheila, no. Don't worry about it. Here he comes. That was speedy, that, Brett.
Sorry about that, Sheila. The other half just rang to say he'd got back. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the impression that this person that is figuring, and it's a significant feature in your past. Like I say, it is an older woman, um, and it's female, definitely female. But I'm getting the impression that it's like anxiety, depression type thing is what I'm getting. And I've lost my bloody glasses now, so I can't see a thing. Oh, Christ. Oh, do you know, this does my nutting. I don't know where my glasses are. I'll have to put my other ones on. And they ain't in there. Sorry about this, folks. I'm going to have to start telling him to start just texting me on days that I'm doing this. I don't know where my other glasses are. There he is. God's sake, where's my glasses gone? Give me a sec, Andy.
No worries.
Sorry, they were on top of my head.
They're on top of your head.
Right. No, blah. It's not sadness I'm getting. You know that this person's feeling down, but it leading up into the present. They're coming up into the Three of Pentacles, which is always a positive card. So whoever this person was, they are okay now. But they've had help of people. This person is going to be considerably more significant now because she moves into the see what you put. Yeah, I know. I should check my edit mags. The Three of Pentacles, to me, always signifies a change of fortune. So what it's saying, this person in the past who's maybe been a little bit down or maybe suffering from a little bit of anxiety or depression, things are on the change for them now. You know, because the Three of Pentacles always signifies to me a change of fortune. It's it signifies as money starts to increase, as does fortune. So it is definitely a change of fortune. I do believe that this person is. I feel you may have helped this person in ways that you don't yet realise, and this person is gonna come into the present now and is gonna be rewarding you in some kind. And I ain't saying it's financial reward, but there's gonna be some kind of reward for what you've done for this person recently. You know, and I don't know if you're even aware that you've actually helped this person out. But something you've done has actually helped this person, this woman. I'll say woman because it's definitely a woman. You've helped this woman out in ways that are now going to pay you off. And leading into the future, it is again ties to the moon. Now the moon, again the crayfish is jumping out at me. Which basically it signifies something coming out of the blue, something unexpected, something you didn't see coming. And I think whatever this person is going to do for you now is going to have a big impact on your future. They are looking up at the moon, which can be a sign of deception, but in this reading I don't believe it is. There's going to be a choice for you to make in the future regarding this person, but what they do for you is going to make this choice extremely easy to make. Extremely easy to make. Moving forward, which is, I believe, the Nine of Swords. Yep, the Nine of Swords, again, is to do with the intellect and the mind. It's saying that whatever's coming up... see, I'm getting the feeling these four cards are more referring to this person in regards of you rather than directly referring to you. And this person is going to be making a dramatic improvement. Definitely, Iced is a game. It's a dramatic improvement. But as what the cards are saying to me, it's hard to explain. But as this woman's fortunes are improving, indirectly she will improve your fortunes, Sheila. And you're going to get a lot. You're going to get a lot of personal satisfaction out of this interaction. I can't narrow it down to whether it's family or friend, but it's definitely somebody close. It's not somebody in your outer circle of friends. It's either a female family member or a close female friend, and they have had it a bit rough lately, and they're coming out of it now. There's going to be great rewards for you regarding the help you've given them. I get the impression that you may not even be aware that because of where the moon's sitting, that you may not even be aware how much you've helped them or that you've helped them at all. But they're going to do something for you that is going to give you a great peace of mind at the end. I don't think it's a financial reward coming off them, but I think it's going to be... It's something that's going to set your mind at rest. That is what the final outcome's saying to me. But it's saying, you're going to get a well-earned rest at the end of it. It has been a bit of a struggle, whatever the situation is for them and for you, but it's coming to an end now, and out of the negative there's going to come a very big positive, and both of you are going to get the break you need. But it ain't a bad reading, not a bad reading at all. I've seen worse. So I hope that helped you, Sheila. But that's all I can tell you about him at the moment. Okie coke. Who's next, Andy?
Next up is Gillian.
Gillian?
Gillian.
Got nothing negative out of that. See, when you say to people sometimes, I get the impression that somebody may be a bit down or something. They think it's necessarily negative, and it ain't.
Yeah,
With that
yeah.
one, I weren't getting the impression it was major depression, but they may have just been feeling a bit under the weather.
That's it, yeah.
But I think I get the impression that Sheila's helped them out. And I honestly don't know whether she's aware she helped them or not. But whatever she's done for them or said to them has actually had a big impact on them, and it's going to help the pair of them. It's definitely going to help the pair of them. A lot of peace of mind at the end of that reading. Right, Gillian. Ooh, money woman. Jesus Christ. Wow. Money, 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 money. This is an Abbott reading. You have literally got 4 pentacle cards there. Now this is Gillian's. This is money from start to finish, Gillian. Right. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, they are nice cards. I think the Queen of Pentacles actually represents you, and in recent past, it's saying you may have been having a few money worries, not necessarily actually having money worries, but feeling like you'd got money worries, if you know what I mean. Feeling a bit melancholy about money, and that is creeping up into the future because with the oh god, I nearly fell over then. With the 6, it always looks to me like he's juggling money, and I think you're feeling like you're juggling finances at the moment. This is carrying from recent past into present, that you feel like you've got to juggle money, and it also goes on into the future as well, because the 2 of Pentacles to me always says balancing money, but because it finishes with the 10, it's a positive one. So what this is coming across to me at the moment, Gillian, is you may think you've got money worries, but you haven't. Don't be panicking about money, because the situation's not as bad as you think it is. I think it's been playing on your mind a bit lately, and it's moving into the present, where you're feeling like you're taking a bit more control, but you still feel like you're juggling your money. Coming up into the future, you're definitely going to get the balance, because the 2, although it's a type of juggling, he is in the process of balancing the 2 sides of money out. So what it's saying is, coming up into into your recent future, that balancing that you want with money is going to come. Maybe not straight away, but within the next 6 months, your money situation is going to settle down, and as is shown by your final outcome, which is the 10. Now, I always like the 10 because, like I say, it is a significant card, because it's the last of the normal cards before you move into the royals of each suit. And again, it shows an abundance of money. So it is showing a settled future financially. I don't think, I ain't saying you're going to win the lottery and run off to Bermuda and buy a yacht and stuff, but current finances are looking good. They're getting better. What started off as maybe a little bit, you're feeling like there's a little bit of a money situation. Definitely by March, April of next year, your money situation is definitely going to be looking a lot rosier. And I think this reading is basically just saying to you at the moment, don't worry about the finances, because they are, as long as you keep an eye on them, they are going to get better, and you're going to have an abundance within the next 6 months. You ain't going to be majorly rich, but you ain't going to you're going to find that money worries then are not like what you think they are now. Um, there's going to be a surplus of cash. Most definitely is what that's saying. There's definitely going to be a surplus of cash there. Um, I don't know why I keep going back to that future too. Um, I think coming up in your recent future, Gillian, there's going to be some kind of frivolous decision coming. You're going to have a chance to get something frivolous, uh, which is going to cost you a bit of money, but I would say go for it. Because I keep being pulled back to that future card, which is the 2. And it's like the fool juggling money. It's not a bad decision, but I would say something's going to come up in your recent future that is going to allow you to to maybe splash the cash a little bit. Not go crazy, don't go crazy with your money. But if you fancy treating yourself in the next couple of months, even maybe even for Christmas, it's saying go for it because the money isn't going to be a problem after. But this reading is definitely all about money. It's literally money from start to finish. Every single one of them's a pentacle. Every single one. So there you go. It's definitely what I call an ABBA spread. Money, money, money. But not a bad money, money. It's a good money, money. So there you go. So I hope that helps.
Well, me and Gillian are right good friends, you know. Wink, 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 wink.
I think Gillian's going to be treating herself soon. I like positive money ones. They could be worse. Who's next, Andy?
Blah.
You're welcome, Gillian. Blah.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Right, before I even start reading these, I'll tell you now, Blah. Um, you're about to enter a very significant period of your life because from your present up to your final outcome, you've got 3 of the major arcana there. So that basically signifies that it's going to be a very, very, very significant next 6 months. What I'd class as a life-changing period of your life. Right, we start off with the 5 of swords, which to me always signifies introspection. I think there's been a lot of looking recently. There's been a lot of looking inwards at yourself more so than being more outgoing thinking. There's been a lot of what's the word, Andy? Self evaluation. That's the word I'm looking for. You've been doing a lot of self evaluation recently. Maybe thinking that others are doing better than you, or maybe you've been feeling a little bit like you ain't doing as good as you possibly could be. But it is basically only self evaluation. It is not the way others have been viewing you. I think you've recently been having a tendency to maybe put yourself down a little bit when it was undeserved. And it was definitely unjustified. You've judged yourself a lot more severely than other people have. And bear in mind, this is recent past. Moving into your present, this is an interesting one. Because, I don't know what sex you are, but the Empress... see, I'm getting the mother fertility thing off it at the moment. That's what I'm getting off the cards, because the Empress can represent a lot of things. It's like feminine power, feminine success, fertility, motherhood, marriage, things like that. And I'm definitely getting the female fertility bit of it. But I don't know how old you are. If you're an older, right, you're a single mom, right? Okay. I can see a new relationship starting soon. But I'm getting fertility off this card, blah. Definitely getting fertility off this card. Birth and that kind of thing. I don't know whether it's you or whether it's close relation. Um, well, 32 could quite easily be you. There's definitely fertility surrounding this card, blah. And this is your present. This is what is happening now. So you're either gonna hear of a pregnancy soon, or it's a pregnancy relating definitely to you, because I am getting fertility off this card. That is the main thing I'm getting off it for you. And to me it looks like she's sitting down in a I know this sounds awful. Sitting down in a maternity gown. That is what's jumping at. A lot of people don't blah. Um, but you're definitely going to hear of a birth. It's either going to be your own or somebody very extremely close to you. Extremely close to you. There's a baby. There's a baby here somewhere, and this is present. This is definitely present. Which is interesting because into your future, you've got the devil, which it's not as negative as people think it is, because it's surrounded by the sun and the empress, which are two positive cards. It's the more positive aspects of the devil that are coming through, and that is more like feeling trapped in a situation that you can escape from. Um, and I think it's definitely linking back to this fertility thing. So I don't know if a close family member maybe having maybe announcing a pregnancy sooner, or hoping for your help in it in some way or other. But it is saying that you are going to feel trapped if you go down that line. But there's definitely this Empress card is screaming at me, blah, literally screaming at me. Um, so if you don't want kids, it's gonna be somebody extremely close to you, and they're gonna in some way try and I don't mean this in a negative way, but they're gonna try and use this baby to ensnare you in some way, to try and tie you to them or tie you to the baby in some way. But luckily, because you got the sun as the final outcome, which is success, and I'm also seeing, what's coming out at me at the moment is the person sitting on the horse is riding away with their arms open, which tells me they're moving away from situation in joy. So, hi Selena. What that is definitely saying to me is there is a baby coming into your future within the next 3 months, or you're going to hear about a baby within the next 3 months. Whoever is having this baby is going to try and use it in some way to trap you into a situation. I ain't necessarily saying it's like a relationship, but they may be gonna they're gonna try and use this baby to ensnare you into something, or attempt to do it. But it's not going to happen as long as you're adamant that you don't let it happen. It's going to be a choice for you, and for final outcome. No, it's not a war. Blah, believe me, it's not. It's not. But it doesn't mean anything evil. And because it's surrounded by the Empress and the Sun, it is extremely weak and down, even for the card it is. Um, if it had been surrounded by negative cards, it normally signifies being entrapped in a situation you can't get out of, or feelings of oppression. Because it's surrounded by two positive cards, it normally signifies an attempt to trap you rather than a successful entrapment. So that's what makes me think that this entrapment is coming off the Empress. It's to do with this woman, fertility, baby, mother. It's that thing. So, but don't worry about it, because the Sun is one of the nicest cards you can have in the final outcome. And the Sun is a sign of contentment. Like, it's very similar to the World card, but it's the person riding away with their arms open in joy, which is telling me whatever this attempted entrapment is, you're going to escape from it anyway. It's not going to affect you, and you've got a nice 6 months coming up, because you end with the Sun, and the Sun is it's warmth, contentment, things growing. Um, it could also be this, maybe even a change. I know you said you're important with your job's important, but I think it could also represent the start of a better job, or the start of a new relationship that is going to be a positive one. But it's definitely all positive for the future, blah. Definitely. And please don't worry about that devil card because it's nowhere near as bad as you think it is. People see the devil and straight away they panic, but it's nothing majorly bad. Hi, Karen. Yeah, you're definitely in for a good future. Definitely in for a good future. Oh, that helps, blah. But just be aware that this thing's about to happen. It's coming up in your near future. Just be aware of it, and you'll be fine after that. So I hope that helps. Okay, and cool. See, I like them, Andy. Nice
Yeah,
positive one.
that's it. It's always good to have a positive.
Yeah. Well, it's also that what was very interesting was she'd got three major arcana cards in a row there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that is really interesting because whenever a major arcana falls in any position, that is telling you that that's an area to focus on. The fact that it went, future, present, future, final outcome, was saying it was, it's the period in the next 6 months from now to the next 6 months is going to be extremely important.
Yep. Very good.
And people always panic when they see the devil.
Yeah, I know.
The devil and death, and then when you drop the tower card on them, they don't bat an eyelid, and I'm thinking, that's the one you should worry about. Just shuffle them a bit. Who's next?
Next is Alison. Did you say that were your next door neighbour?
Alison, I'll shout through the wall, Alison.
Yeah.
There's control coming, blah. Believe me. That was a nice lead up towards the end. And the sun is one of the best cards you can have in. I always like to see in final outcome the sun, star, the world, those type of cards coming up. They're always successful ones. But you're definitely going on a new journey, either job wise or relationship wise. Right. Oh, Alison, new relationships. This is a good one. Right, immediate past. I always signify this card as basically feeling trapped within your own head. Because if you look, she's actually tied up around her and surrounded by a ring of swords. The swords always represent the intellect. And to me, that card always says to me, you're bound in your own head. So, recent past, it's issues regarding the head. I ain't going to go into too much detail, but, a lot of it is self-imposed. Maybe it's been worse. It's not as bad as you've imagined it has been, but it's definitely been entrapped within your own head, is what that's saying. Entrapped within your own thinking. You've basically bound yourself in some kind of mentality or way of thinking, and that has been happening in your recent past. It's been very significant. Moving into the future, you've got the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands, to me, even though you get the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Wands is is also what I consider a boyfriend card, and this is, or lover. I'll say more lover than boyfriend. Had it been the Knight of Cups, I would have said boyfriend. Knight of Wands, I will say. What's the term? Friends with benefits. Is that the right term, Andy?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that kind of relationship, Alison, and it's either just starting now or it's about to kick off. There's definitely somebody coming into your sphere of life now who it may be a brief romance, or it may develop into something else. Because looking at your final outcome card, I think it may. Right, but there's definitely you're going to meet somebody soon, very very soon. Somebody's coming into your life, and it's going to be a physical thing at first rather than an emotional. Going into your future with the eight of staves, battens, wands, whatever you want to call them. Again, this is the body, and it's a signifier that it's continuing on. Um, there's passion leading into the future. More of a it's more of a physical relationship than an emotional relationship, is what I'm going to say, Alison. Um, but it's going to build. It's going to be quite. It is going to be, Mills and Boonsy type thing. Oh, Mr. Darcy ripped my body off type. Because that's what it does with the ones, Andy. They represent the physical and more earthy type of things because it's linked to the night. The good thing is your final outcome goes onto the page of cups. So what that's telling me is the night that you're about to meet in your future is going to it's going to turn from physical to emotional, and it's going to be like a Mr. Right is about the best way of saying it. It's quite an interesting one, this, Alison. It's one of my raunchy readings.
Oh,
um, yeah, this relationship is going to start soon. It's going to build up. It's going to be passion, but it is going to be more of a physical thing. But it is eventually going to lead to the point where you're going to realise that this person is the right person for you at that point in time. I ain't saying they're going to be your Mr. Happy Ever After, but at some point you're going to, this relationship is going to turn proper emotional rather than just the physical side of things. So I don't know if you've got anybody going on at the moment, but it's saying stick with it because this relationship is going to build up, and he's going to turn into your Mr. Right or Mr. Right now, if you know what I mean. I never say to anybody, them, you're going to be with them forevermore. But this guy or whoever it is you're going to meet now is gonna build up over the coming months into Mr. Right. Okay, that's quite a nice one, Alison.
yeah, well, very nice that one.
Mhm.
So she has a lot of fun on the way.
Yeah. Looks like I'm gonna have to buy some earmuffs.
Oh dear.
That was quite a nice. It was a nice one actually, and it was interesting to see both the night and the page. The physical boyfriend into the emotional boyfriend. That was really interesting. Who's next?
Mags.
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 Right. Uh-oh. Right, Mags. Um, right, this is... Ooh. Again, Mags, I'm getting some kind of intellectual burden here at the moment. Happening at the moment. Um, them two cards, the the Seven and the Tower, I honestly think they're linked. They're linked together, and that is showing destructive intellectual forces, um, destructive thinking is surrounding you at the moment. Is what that's saying. Definitely, because if you look at the first card, he's carrying all the swords, and he's looking at the other two like he's He wants to carry him, but he just simply can't carry anymore. And linked to the tower, which, as you know, is destruction, things coming out of the blue. That tells me that there's right now there's you've got to be very careful because there's destructive intellectual forces here going on, destructive thinking, trying to take on too much mentally is what it's basically saying to me. And it's leading into your other two because I think them two are connected as well. This is a really odd reading, Mags. This is a really odd one because these are not past, present, and future. This is two sets of two, which I don't get very often. But those first two are definitely signifying taking too much on mentally. And if you're not careful, it's all going to blow up in your face. You know, if you know what I'm saying. So those first two are a warning to take it easy mentally. Don't take on more mentally than you can deal with right now. Because you'll end up overburdening yourself and it'll all come crashing down on you. Okay? Right, the second two, I think, are coming towards a decision. Because the two of wands always makes me think of a decision which is your final outcome. So it's telling me what these second two, again, she's showing introspection. And I know it's the money card, but it's more her I'm being drawn to than the suit at the moment. And to me, that is showing some kind of introspection and a very important decision for you to make. It's like he's looking out on the he's looking out towards the horizon, but he's actually standing between two wands or two staves, which when there's two of anything in any of the cards, it always signifies a balance or a choice or light and dark, good and evil. It's opposites. So, but it's her, it's her that's attracting me to the card rather than the suit. I know it's a Pentacles card, which is normally material stuff, but for some reason I'm getting off that card that it's more of a personal introspection. She's glancing to the side and having a good think, is what it looks like to me. So that's leading on from your first two, and it's saying, don't take on too much at the moment because there's a period coming up for you where you're going to have a lot of thinking to do, self-reassessment, stuff like that. And it's going to be a very, very important decision for you to make at the end of it because that's your final outcome, the two of wands. And he's standing between them. He's holding the one and ignoring the other. So I do think that you are actually going to, because I'm being drawn to the fact of it that he's actually holding the one, which is significant. Which is basically saying to me that there's a decision to be made and you will make it, but you've got to look inwards for this decision. Don't go outwards for it. You've got to go inwards for it. But it is going to be very important. But it's those first two that are not actually worrying, Mags, but I think they're more of an urgent advisory. Should I say? Because they're definitely showing taking on more than you should deal with mentally, and that can go for anybody. But he's carrying the swords and he's struggling with the ones he's got, and he's looking at the other two, thinking, "Shall I pick them two up as well?" And because it's linked to the tower, which is destruction and things just collapsing, it's saying no. So just bear that in mind for now. Just bear that in mind, because it is definitely it's not a prediction. It's an advisory saying, just telling you to beware, or be aware of, should I say, not beware. But it is going to lead, like I say, it is going to lead to this period of introspection, and it is going to lead to this decision that you've got to make, which is signified by the guy standing between the two wands. But he is making a definite decision because he's actually grasping hold of the one, and it may not necessarily be the decision you think you should make, but it's going to be the right decision. So just bear that in mind. Okay? There you go, Mags. That was quite a serious one.
It was, yeah.
Who's next, Andy?
Next we've got Ray Hello.
Ray, hello.
Yeah.
Here it goes. Oh, I got one of them urges to sneeze and oh god, I don't believe that. Oh, interesting. Same card to start off as Mags, but a different outcome. God, this is get off me thing, dog. I'm just finding me what's it. Right, did you say it was Ray?
Yeah.
Right, Ray. Again, in your recent past, I can see very similar to what I've just said to Mags that there's been some kind of overburdening on from a mental point of view, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. Um, it's just the sign of thinking and stuff like that. That maybe you've been taking on a bit too much mentally lately, and it's saying to be careful. Um, Very interesting linking in because the one it links into um, on your present is the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords is always a funny one for me because it's what I always call the blind faith card. And I think what it's saying is, at the moment, you're at a point where you've got to make a decision, but there is no right or wrong to this decision. Is what I'm saying. You may be making the choice. There's a choice coming up for you now, um, and it is literally going to have to be a blind faith one. Um, I ain't saying the two choices are negative. I ain't saying they're two positive, and I ain't saying there's one positive or negative. All I can tell you is whatever this choice is that's coming up for you now, you're going to see no real clear path with them, and you've literally got to take. No worries, Alison. You have literally got to take a leap of faith in one or the other. Because it is going to be a blind choice, basically. Because if you look, she's got the swords crossed over, and she's blindfolded, so she's not aware of it. It's signifying the two ways, but she's doing it blindfolded. So which to me always signifies the fact that it's an even thing. Yes, Nikki. What's it'll put you on? Um, Interestingly enough, Ray, it goes into your future with the Wheel of Fortune, and then into the Lovers. Now you're ending your reading with two major Arcana cards, so I think you're gonna have you're gonna have a positive outcome to this decision. The Wheel of Fortune is obviously linking into the Blind Faith because it's reinforcing the luck type of thing. It is literally down to the Wheel of Fate of how this thing is go because it links to the Lovers, which is always a good sign for everybody. Um, it's going to be it's signifying good luck to me, and the fact that they're side by side again is reinforcing positivity. So this decision coming up is definitely going to be a positive one. Don't worry too much about it because it's not gonna be life threatening or anything like that. But it could indicate the joining of it's going to lead to a joining of a situation. Now, not necessarily. I ain't necessarily saying it's joining of two people. It could signify a relationship, but it is definitely going to end up with the joining of two things, two worlds coming together, two people coming together, ideas coming together. It's things converging and joining, is what the love is signifying to me in this. It could signify love, but what I'm getting off the card right now is more of the coming together rather than the love side of it. Um, and the angel's quite prolific in the card at the moment, which is a sign of being watched over and being protected to me. But there's definitely going to be something's going to come to fruition from this decision, and I don't know whether it's a decision you're aware of now, but it's definitely a decision in your present. So, and it's a difficult one because you know it ain't going to be a decision where there's a clear path. It's literally one of two options, and you've just got to pick one. But whichever one you pick, at the moment the cards are saying is going to be the positive one or the best. It's going to be the best outcome. Because I ain't saying either of them are going to have a negative outcome, but whichever one you pick is going to be the best outcome. Um, but whatever it is, it's going to involve a coming together of things. There's going to be a joining of things coming together. And the lovers is always a nice card to have as a final outcome. But like I say, I ain't necessarily getting relationship off it. You know, it could be, but that ain't the thing that's jumping out off the card off me at the moment. It is more the coming together, and I don't mean sexually. You know, I mean, you know, it is just a conjoining of things meeting in the middle, things coming together, things that fit, basically. So you know, it could be situations, it could be a relationship, it could be ideas, it could even be a new business opportunity. But whatever it is concerning this decision, it will pay out. So I hope that helps. But you have got a decision coming up, most definitely. But it's going to be a positive one. There we go. I like that one.
Mm.
Somebody's going to pay with a bad one before long. I always have that horrible feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I really don't feel fully with it tonight.
Really.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Shit, now I've dropped the donut on the floor.
It's after yesterday's experience that it's got to you.
Yeah. No, I don't mean I'm feeling down or ill. I'm just feeling a bit spaced out. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt yesterday morning. Bit strange.
A bit out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So next up, we've got Mimi.
Mimi. The King of Pentacles, the ultimate coin card. Inheritance. Right, this again. I can see those first two cards are, for me, joined together. Mimi. The King of Pentacles and the Emperor. Now, the King of Pentacles is obviously the penultimate material card. Now, I ain't necessarily saying it's material wealth, but it's definitely materialistic gain connected to a man. Father figure, brother, uncle, husband, that kind of thing. But there's something going on around you at the moment that concerns and it's rather important materialistic things. Probably is money, but I ain't saying 100% certain it is. But there's definitely this connection to a guy, a bloke, because it's the Emperor, and it's somebody who I feel is maybe in charge of this. I don't want to say wealth because I don't know whether it's money, but it's something definitely materialistic. It could be property, but it's Selena says I was feeling spaced out as well. It's weird. But there's definitely this guy around you at the moment, and he's got a strong connection to material things. Being the king, the king is actually reinforcing the emperor, is what I'm saying. And to me, that's coming across as they're like holding power over you, or they're holding decision over you. Not necessarily in a negative way, but It's like the thing I'm getting off the two cards. AJ or Dario will provide this. Um, it's it's definitely coming across as this guy is in control of this situation at the moment, and it's materialistic. It is definitely materialistic. Uh, a successful man, not necessarily a bad man, because the emperor doesn't normally represent somebody who's bad, but they are very significant ranger at the moment for some reason, and it is definitely to do with the materialistic side of things. Um, See, I ain't necessarily getting money off that king at the moment, just material. Um, but it's because it's linked with the emperor. It's important. It's a double reinforcement that this man, it could even be your dad or your husband or brother or even your bank manager. It's somebody who's in charge of money or material things. Um, and they're linking onto the moon, which is again what is coming at me this time is the two dogs barking at the moon, and they always to me represent good and evil. So again, a choice. When there's twos on a card, it's always to do with a choice. It is Mimi, and it's I'm doing this for.
It is, yeah.
So there is definitely upcoming in your future, Mimi. Um, it appears to be AJ. I have no idea who AJ is. Who's AJ?
It might be somebody she knows.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, there's some kind of decision you've got to make around this person and around this material side of things. Because otherwise there's going to be a bad outcome for it. Because I'm getting the deception side of the moon here. Right, okay, you've got to pick one. Well, be very careful. Be very, very careful of your choice here, Mimi. Because one of them's going to be a good choice and one of them's going to be a bad. And again, linking on to the swords card, which is the mind again, it's saying this is a decision of the head, not a decision of the heart. Because I get the impression if there's two guys you're picking from, both of them are quite evenly balanced in terms of materialistic side of things. But the moon, I'm getting deception off the moon. The decision and the deception part of the moon is what I'm getting. And one of these guys, and I don't know if you need to pick AJ because I don't know who AJ is, but one of them is going to be a good choice. One of them is going to be a bad choice, and one of them is going to be. I'll always go for the Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn. Can't go wrong with a Capricorn.
Scorpios can be iffy.
Yes, they ain't got the sting in the tail for nothing. Um, but yes, definitely, Mimi. Think very carefully about this before you jump in feet first, because your final outcome card is the sword of somebody. It's somebody lying down, and the swords represent the intellect, which always tells me have a lie down and think about it. Is basically what that card always says to me. So just think very, very carefully. Don't go with your heart on this decision. Go with your head. It's another one of these readings of go with your head, go not your heart. Normally I like to say to people go with your heart, not your head, but this is the other way around, like the one was previously, same kind of thing. But we'll go with the Scorpio then, Mimi, because this is definitely saying go with the head, not with the heart.
Well, there is like a scorpion on that moon card, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, see, people see it different. A lot of people think it's a lobster.
Yeah.
It's basically a crayfish coming out of
Yeah.
the water, so it signifies things coming up from the deeps that you ain't aware of and creeping up on you. It basically signifies the unknown creeping up on you.
I saw it rated as a scorpion then as I looked at it.
But exactly, see, this is how the cards work, Andy. Whatever you see it as is what you go with. That is literally how it works. If you see it as a scorpion, say it's a scorpion, even though you know it's a crayfish. Now,
Right.
Because that's how it works. But
Very good.
the moon card, you got the dogs looking up at the moon, which is the deception bit of it, and then you've got the towers either side, and I don't know how many people know, but those two towers in the background of that card represent good and evil. and there's
Right.
actually a path running between the two. And that the moon to me, when I get the deception feeling off it, and combined with the choice, there's always a good and a bad choice. It
Yeah.
ain't like the previous reading where either choice would have been okay, but one was better than the other. This one is definitely saying one's a good choice, one's a bad choice, but because it finishes off with an intellect card and the one of the woman lying down, the bloke lying down, which always makes me think lie down and have a good think about it. It's a warning to say go with the heart, not with the head.
Right.
Yeah, Mags, whatever you see it as is the way to go, but it is. I can assure you, it is actually a crayfish. And people think it's a lobster because it's actually crawling out of water. But that's what I always say to people about the cards: is whatever you see in the cards, whatever leaps out at you, or whatever comes into your head, that is what you go with. That is definitely what you go with. Oh, that's good. Sam's put a link to your thing in. See, I can never do it
Yeah.
because I'm chatting. You can do it whenever. Um, but yeah, definitely me. If you think it's if you think it's the Scorpio, you've got to go with the Scorpio. But I would definitely advise on this one, go with the head, not the heart. That's what your cards are saying at the moment. So whichever one is more of a head decision is going to be the right decision for you at the moment. Okay, and I hope that helps.
Very good. Right, we've got 3 left on list. I think we'll probably close. I mean, by the time you've done these 3, I think it'll be time to close. It's like 11 in total. Usually about right. That.
Right, okay.
Do you need a minute, a drink or out?
Yes, if you don't mind, because my coffee.
Yeah.
I ain't even drunk. You know that coffee I did at the beginning.
Yeah.
I ain't even took a sip out of it yet.
But yeah, with that card, that moon, that proper drew me in, that moon card, because you're saying go ahead and you've got that facing moon looking
Mhm.
down at that red dog
Mhm.
with what we saw as a scorpion
Yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah.
Really, really standing out, isn't it?
Mhm. See, that's how the cards work, Andy. I always say to people because people think it's like mediumship where somebody's whispering things in your ears, and that isn't
Mm,
how it works. The cards work on intuition, and
yeah,
basically, you can look at the same card 100 times, and every single time something different will immediately catch your attention on that card,
right.
and that is what you go with. And like you say, you saw the crayfish as a scorpion. If you see it as a scorpion, say that because that's the right thing. And then
Yeah,
your
yeah,
your your mind will, each person's mind associates scorpions with different things,
yeah, yeah,
and that's how they work. You know, but a lot of people are reluctant to say what they think, and this is why they don't read the cards properly. They learn all the meanings of them, which you have got to learn what each card means, but don't stick to them.
yeah.
Religiously, because you've there's got to be the leeway, and if something is bouncing off that card at you, that is what you've got to go with.
Very
That is
good.
that is definitely what you've got to go with. Because I've read cards before in the past where I've had cards come up, and they've actually, to me, something's jumped off the card, and they've actually made me think of another card,
Right.
and the meaning that I'm getting off that card could be, um, you know, could be an entirely opposite meaning. And
Yeah.
it's like the death card when as soon as you turn the death card over, people start to get in a flap and a panic and stuff, and it's like don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is one of the most misconcepted cards in the
Yeah,
deck, though. Isn't it?
yeah. The time to worry is when you're getting things like the tower linked to death, linked to the moon, you
Yeah,
know, linked to
yeah,
either the high priestess or the high priest, and then and then you've got an ongoing descent, and it can mean quite negative things, but not always. Right, who's next? Then I've took a couple of swigs of coffee.
right. Nicky New.
All right, Nikki. Okay. This is interesting. Right, Nikki. Your past card is the Lovers. Um, this is going to sound really odd, but I'm getting the exact opposite off that card of what I got when it came out last time. Where it just came out for, was it Ray? Where I said I
Yeah.
got the feeling things were joining. This time I've got the feeling they're being pushed apart. So there's been some kind of breaking up recently in the past, Nikki. There's been imagine two magnets together pushing themselves apart. I get the feeling that recently there's been a lot of fracture around you. Rather than things coming together, you felt like they've been blowing apart. Um, See, I get the feeling. See, Andy, I get the feeling that should be upside down, even though it
Right.
ain't. That's what I'm getting off it. I'm getting
Yeah.
the negative side of the card, even though it's the right way up. And I'll tell you why I'm getting the negative side of it, because it's next to the 5. And the pick, the pick. If you look at the 5, the way I'm looking at them two cards together, he's looking at them two like he's going to whack them with that sword,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that is why it's jumped off at me. That it's a driving apart. It's pushing away love. It's pushing away situations. It is literally just everything pushing apart. And it's carried on into the present, Nikki. Um, this situation, and I think it ain't just physical. It's mental as well. And emotional. It's everything. It's the it's mind, body, and spirit all pushing in opposite directions at the moment. And this has come from the past, and it's currently in the future, but it is actually easing up. And I will tell you now, your future card is. I'm so glad the Ace of Cups is there, considering the first two, because the Ace of Cups literally cancels out in your future what's happening in them first two. Because the Ace of Cups is actually the start of a new relationship, a renewing of emotions. It's renewal. It's the cup overflowing, basically. Um, so them three, I think, are all together in a trio. And what it's saying is that all this fracture and turmoil at the moment in your near future, which is like I would say, 6 months, coming up to 6 months, there's actually going to be a total renewal, Nikki. Possibly a new relationship, but definitely you yourself will feel better. Because the Ace of Cups is what I call the renewal card, and especially with the emotions. And it's a start. It's a sign of new love, new beginnings, fresh starts, and that's what's coming up in the next 6 months. That is also being reinforced with your final card, which again is that this 10's been adamantly coming out all night. I don't know
Mm.
why. Have you noticed? This is about the fourth
I
time
have.
that
Yeah.
the 10 of Pentacles has come out, which again is an abundance card. It's the last card of the Watts. It's before you go into the royal, into the the picture what I call the
Yeah. Yeah.
royal
Yeah.
substitute. So yeah, that is reinforcing your Ace of Cups. So what it's saying is, although you've had this rocky past going on, and it is currently going on at the moment, and it is all areas of your life. Like I say, it ain't just the physical; it's also the emotional and the intellectual. There's just been a lot of fracture there. The Ace of Cups in your in your upcoming future is going to cancel those two out, and you're basically going to get a new lease of life. It's going to be like a rebirth. It's a renewal of everything, particularly on the emotional side. And I do strongly think it's showing a start. I get the impression it is the start of a new relationship as well. Um, I don't know whether it's a romantic relationship, but there's definitely going to be the starting of a very important relationship for you, and this is coming up in the next 6 months. And like I say, linked to the ten of Pentacles as your final outcome, I call it the abundance card, and it's always very very positive to have something like that as your final outcome. It ain't saying you're going to win the lottery or any shite like that, and I ain't saying money worries are going to disappear out the window, but there's going to be an abundance. The things you're lacking now, there's going to be an abundance of in the future. So to me, that's basically, this reading is more a coming out of the darkness into the light type of thing. For me, is what it's saying. And Vernau's here.
Is he?
Yeah, the suit of cucumbers.
Hey up there now.
But yeah, Nicky. Like I say, it starts off rocky. Near future, it gets hell of a lot better. In your near future, that Ace of Cups starts to cancel things out. And by the time you come to the middle of early part of next year, April May time, you'll be on a much nicer footing in all areas of your life, and that's basically all I can tell you at the moment. But there you go. Okay. But it's very good reading, Nicky. Actually, very nice one. Nothing negative. I know it sounded a bit negative at the beginning, but it definitely gets a lot better. Right, I'll give him a shuffle again. Who's next?
Next up is Karen.
Karen. And if this bloody Ten of Pentacles comes out again, I'm going to scream. Oh, she's going to love this one. Another blind faith reading. Right, Karen. Recent past is the Fool. Now, don't panic. That's not basically. That's not saying you're an idiot or anything. Basically, the Fool is one of the major arcana cards, and it's actually considered card 0 of the tarot deck. So it basically signifies new beginnings, starting out on a new journey, but with a warning to not walk blindly into any situation. Because as you can see, he's actually about to walk off a cliff, and it depicts somebody starting on a new journey. The good thing is the dog at the bottom right hand corner is actually considered a guardian who's advising him of the what's it. But because this is your recent past, it's saying that this journey has already begun. So whatever the initial danger was has actually passed. But you have recently started a new period of life, or a new mode of thinking, way of thinking, or even some kind of new emotional endeavour. But the Fool in this respect is definitely denoting the start of a new journey, and this is recent past. So any sort of danger connected with the Fool has already gone. So that there's nothing negative there anyway. You're not going to walk blindly off a cliff. Whatever's going to happen has already happened regarding this new start. Again, linking into this bloody Seven of Swords, which has yet again come up. Mm-hmm. Again, I always see this as trying to take on too much mentally, and this is the situation you're in at the moment. I know Christmas is coming up, and people have, feel a lot of pressure regarding Christmas and stuff like that. But this is more of a mental thing, not anguish, but maybe anxiety. I feel that there may be a little bit of anxiety around you at the moment, and it's concerning the future, which is the Wheel of Fortune, which to me, because he's looking, if you look, he's actually looking directly at the Wheel of Fortune as well as the swords. If you follow his eye line, he's smack bang in the middle of the wheel. Which says to me, I think maybe you're a bit worried about where you are in your current phase of life. I think you feel you're more like a leaf blown on the wind than actually making your own important decisions at the moment. And what this is basically saying, because it finishes with the Two of Swords, is you are in control of your destiny. And it's also that end card is also saying you may not be able to see the future, but there's always a choice. That is what that card's saying to me at the moment. There's that blind decision at the end. I do feel that this anxiety around you at the moment, you've worried a bit about it. There's something been playing on your mind, and the Wheel of Fortune to me is representing uncertainty of the future, not good or bad luck, because he's looking at considering what's next to it and what's the other side of it, to the left and right. But it's what these cards are saying are, you know, you don't have to fear what's to come, because there will always be a choice for you, and you may not see the choice at the time, but there's always a choice. There's always the chance to make the right decision, and not to be overly concerned about what's coming up in your immediate future, because there's nothing negative in that reading at all. There's no bad cards. I will say your immediate future is going to be the important period, and I think what the Fool is signifying at the beginning is about to come to fruition in into your future now in the next 6 months. But there's that uncertainty, and it's your own self uncertainty around it. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But there's going to be a change of fortunes coming up, definitely, one way or the other. I get the feeling it's going to be more of a positive. I get the feeling you're on the upward side of the wheel rather than the downward side of the wheel. But it is saying don't worry, because whatever happens, you've got a choice, and you may not think it at the moment, because that card's blind. The woman's blindfolded with the crossed swords across her chest, but it's the decision is always there. So, and again, another positive one. Was that for Karen?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but there is definitely this uncertainty at the moment about the future, but it's going to turn out okay, Karen. You're going to have choices in the future, basically, and none of them seem to be negative. So I hope that helped. Oh, I'm glad there's been no overly bad ones tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice reading, Max. I just got the feeling that Karen, there's something in the back of Karen's mind at the moment that is worried about, and she shouldn't be.
Next up, we've got Lizzie.
Lizzie.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Karen. Oh, wow. God, this is another weird one. This is another one where 2 and 2. This is a 2 and 2 again. The first two,
Yeah.
and again, oddly enough, it's 2 same suit cards followed by 2 major arcana. Right, I will say that this one is a bit like Nicky's, where it's a bit. I don't mean shaky, but the first bit's a little bit more negative than the last bit. Those two are connected, and they're both staves, and to me, when they're, especially when you've got the 10 of staves, to me, it always tell it, and don't take this the wrong way, but it always indicates illness to me, but not necessarily bad illness, or feeling overburdened is the best way of describing it, or feeling a little bit run down. Linking to the first card is these two are saying to me that there's been some kind of ill health, and I ain't necessarily. Is it Lizzie I'm talking to?
Yeah.
I ain't necessarily saying it's you, Lizzie, but there's been an ill health has been linked to you very, very recently. Either you or somebody close to you, or there's been a worry of ill health, and there's been a burden there's been a burden over the body, because the 10 to me always, the way he's trying to clutch and drag all them sticks along. It ain't necessarily a negative card, but it comes through as a burden of the body, and it's and linked with the 2, where the 2's always melancholy. So I don't know if this is meaning anything to you, Lizzie, but this is recent past into the present. Right, that's what it is then. That's what it is. Um, and at the moment, because the ten's where it is in your present, this is where you're feeling it the most at the moment. You felt it's getting a bit of a burden now. The good news is, moving on to the chariot, which is in your future. The chariot is a sign of taking control. It signifies movement. It signifies fluidity. It sometimes signifies decisions and journeys, but in this case, I'm drawn to the guy who's actually steering the the cart, which to me always signifies control. He is actually in control of the two sphinxes pulling the what's it, which if I zone in on them, they normally represent good and bad, or dark and light, or conflicting forces. But for the chariot in there, um, to me, it's saying taking control. And to me, that is saying whatever this is with your illness at the moment, you're going to take control of it, Lizzie. And believe it or not, linking to the Empress, especially with health cards at the beginning, and you being a woman, you couldn't have got a better card drop there. There is not a better card than that. Is the best one you could ever have out of all 78 cards to have when there's ill health if you're a woman, because the Empress signifies the feminine, feminine contentment, feminine. I'm going to say wiles because it's ain't wiles, but it's feminine health and all that kind of stuff. Is success and contentment and happiness. And what that's saying to me is, you may feel a bit down about your health right now, but as you're moving into the next couple of months and maybe Christmas or just after, you'll start to feel a little bit better. And by the spring, you're going to feel a hell of a lot better. Hi, Joanne. The Empress, honestly, you couldn't have a better card in your final outcome where health issues are concerned, especially if you're a woman, because that says to me that things are going to improve drastically. You're going to feel a lot better in yourself, and it is going to be as a direct result of you taking control of whatever's going on. It's all right, Joanne, don't worry about it, with whatever's going on with your health. But it is definitely a sign that there's going to be movement on your health with the chariots, but it's going to be something you do personally, but it's going to lead to the Empress, which is the perfect card when you're a woman who's ill, because in the future it basically shows that it's massive health improvement, it's contentment in yourself, it's feeling better, it's feminine power, it's all that kind of stuff. You're welcome, Lizzie, but there is most definitely an improvement coming up for you, and again, because the arcanas are together and they're in your future and final outcome, because they are the Arcana cards, they are considered vitally important, and they're the ones that focus the most. They're the stronger cards in the reading. So, you can look forward to an improvement. I'd say Christmas and onwards, but by end of spring, by the end of spring, very early summer, you'll be feeling hell of a lot better. Hell of a lot better, no doubt about it. Okay, so I hope that helped. Is there anybody left, Andy?
Have we got time to do Mark Vernon a quick one?
Yep.
Yep, cool. And then list will be closed after this last one.
Okay. Mr. Vernon. Thankfully, I don't think there's any cucumbers in any of the. If I see something that looks like a cucumber, I'm going to laugh. I am really going to laugh if I see anything that looks like a cucumber.
Hey, Joanne.
Lizzie, they're nothing to do with being a medium or anything like that. The cards, they are basically just a tool for your intuition to. They're a platform for intuition to leap off. Anybody who tells you they're a medium because they use tarot cards is lying to you. There may be a medium who uses tarot cards, but using tarot cards does not make you a medium. Believe me. I in no way, shape or form consider myself to be a medium.
I can go one better, I'm an extra large.
Yeah, I am. Oh wow. Okay. Um. Right. I'll be honest with you, Mark. Recent past, all I see in that card is conflict, battles, um, riot is about the best way of describing it.
Sounds just like Werner.
Um, definitely, and this is like recent past 6 months. That is definitely to me a card of riotness, conflict, battles, upheaval. Upheaval. I'll use the word upheaval rather than saying conflict. There's been a lot of upheaval. Um, it's really funny because I'm getting a woman here. All the way through them next three cards, woman, 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 and obviously it finishes on the Empress. Um, this conflict is concerning. This sounds ridiculous, Andy. This conflict is concerning a woman. This is going to sound really nutty, and it's. I get the impression this woman is really aloof. Really, a really aloof woman. Somebody who's very picky. I ain't saying a nasty woman, but she's very choosy. Do you understand what I'm saying, Andy?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think as nasty. Well, I ain't getting the impression as nasty, but I suppose it could be nasty. But it's an aloof woman, and this woman at the moment, this is in your present. This woman is very. She's very significant, and I don't know why, but I keep being drawn to her looking at that bloody bird. Flight. It's to do. It's to do with flight.
I'm thinking exactly the same thing as what Mark's thinking.
Flight. It's flight. It is flight, Andy. It's the bird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's something about. I know who Cara is, but is Cara aloof?
She can be a bit fickle.
See, I'm thinking flighty, and because I'm looking at the bird, she'll be up and gone for no reason. It's that
Yeah.
it's that kind of aloofness. But linking into the future, there's a joining. There's a joining with this woman.
Oh.
Because that's what the Two of Cups represents. It's a coming together of love. And because it's linking to the Empress, it's her all the way through. If you look, they're wearing the same freaking
Yeah.
dress.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really it's really weird this, because she's being very almost like she's distancing herself, but then all of a sudden in the immediate future, bang, it comes together. But she's the power at the end of it. That is what
really
I'm sorry, Mark, but that's what I'm getting. She's keeping a distance at the moment, but there's going to be this sudden coming together, and she's going to be the power at the end of it. I don't know if that really means anything to you. God, that's weird. Because although it's a love thing coming together, it's almost destructive, Andy. That's what I'm getting off it. You know, it's you know, imagine the universe starting off. It's that kind of coming together, but destruction around it.
A big bang.
Yeah, sort of thing. But she's gonna be the power at the end of it. Yeah, say yes, Mistress Mark. That kind of thing. Definitely that. It definitely ends. It definitely ends, Mark, with that woman, and I don't know why, but I get the feeling at the moment is push away, but she's pushing away for a reason. She's pushing away to get this bringing together to happen, and it is going to be it's going to be destructive, but not in an. It's weird, Andy, because it's going to be destructive, but not in a negative way.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is the feeling. That's the feeling I'm getting. It's going to be Clash of the Titans type of thing. destruction everywhere, but not negative destruction. It's going to be destruction for a positive thing. Well, she's definitely she's going to be a hell of a lot more powerful after it. I'll guarantee you that. It's like and don't take this the wrong way, but it's like she almost obliterates you in the process.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now, I don't mean it's going to kill him or anything, but it's like, she literally dominates at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all his will's out the window. That's what I'm getting off the cards at the moment. But it's that third one that's the interesting one. I've never ever got a feeling like that off that card before. Normally that's all lovey-dovey and light sort of thing, but this is like, it's like universal love. It's on that kind of scale. It's destructive but positive. I can't describe what it is, Andy. It's like an explosion.
I think it's just because of the like odd circumstances what it's about. You know what I mean? It's just. I mean, to me and Mark, it makes absolute sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
But at the end of it, she's not going to be negative. She's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a negative thing. When I say she literally takes over, it's not going to be in a nasty way.
Yeah.
I almost get like a Gaia thing off her. I ain't saying as Mother Earth or anything, but that's what I get off her.
Very interesting.
So I hope that helped, Mark. That was really weird. That was a really weird one. Them last two cards particularly, but that third one. Because do you know the first thing I thought of, and I've never thought of it before, the first thing I thought of when that card came out was, why is there a phoenix hovering above him?
Alright, yeah.
And it ain't a phoenix. It's basically a sun with wings.
Yeah.
But to me, straight away, it looked like a phoenix. And to me, that means elemental forces. Now, I don't think you're gonna. Now, Mark, this is the thing. This is the thing. I'm getting that it changes her as well as changes you, but I'm almost getting like a Gaia type thing off her. Does that sound weird? Do you understand what I'm saying,
really.
Andy?
I understand it, yeah.
I ain't getting it as a negative Gaia. I'm getting it as a positive thing.
I think Verno might have a few surprises to come.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I think that's really good. Considering the strange circumstances around it, that were really good.
Yeah. But it was that it was conflict. It started off with conflict, but then it went straight to them. Last three was definitely her, but it was basically that is what happens, Mark. But she although she takes full control at the end, it changes her as well as changes you. But it's that aloofness that was weird, because it starts as like, at the moment, it's like it's pushing away for a reason, but then bang together and Earth Mother at the end. But there you go. Right, is that the ones finished?
Yeah, that's all done.
Right. Anything you want to discuss then, Andy? We'll just have a general chit-chat now.
Well, I've got to dash in around 15 minutes or so.
Okay, no problem.
Because my brother will be picking me up,
yeah,
so...
We'll just do a short one then, so we'll have an early finish tonight, so it don't matter. Right, I will tell you what happened yesterday, which was really strange, and these lot think it's really funny, and I didn't. Well, I did after, but I didn't at the time. Yesterday morning, the night before, I was telling Andy about problems we'd been having in the kitchen, and I'd mentioned it on here. Jace was in the kitchen and he had the gravy thing tipped over and rolled across the counter at him, which I found highly amusing. So I was talking to Andy about it night before last, was I not? About things that go on in this house. And I said to Andy, we have a lot of strange occurrences go on in the kitchen and upstairs on the landing. 99% of the things that happen in the kitchen go on with Jason. I very rarely get anything happen to me in the kitchen. The only thing I've ever had happen in there was last summer, not the summer just gone, late last summer, the one before that, so it's been about 8-9 months ago. I started to have voices calling my partner calling the dogs into the kitchen when he wasn't here. That's the only thing I've ever happened. So the night before last, I said to Andy, you know, everything that happens upstairs happens to me. Everything that happens to downstairs in the kitchen happens to Jason. I don't think they're bothered about me in the kitchen. So yesterday morning, I went to make a coffee. Did a coffee, perfectly fine. Now, Mags, it just happens. It literally just happens. Sometimes, I don't know why you don't get. Normally, they're either 3 and 1 or whatever. The 2 and 2 is quite nice when you get them because they balance each other. But as I was saying, I went into the kitchen, did my first coffee, and finished the coffee in the jar. So I threw the jar away, had a drink, and if anybody who knows me, I've got to have at least 2 or 3 cups of coffee on a morning before I'm normal. So 10 minutes later, I decided I wanted another one. So I went into the kitchen to do another coffee. I got a new jar of coffee, which was on the side, still fully sealed. Brought it over to the kitchen with my cup. I cut the foil out with a spoon. Scooped my coffee out, put it in the cup. Screwed the lid back on the coffee, put the coffee back in the thing. Kettle boiled, I poured the water in my coffee. Poured the milk in, stirred it, never took no notice of it, picked the milk up and walked to the fridge. Perfectly fine. So I stuck the milk in, shut the fridge, went back to pick my coffee up, bring it into the front room, and as I went to pick it up, I noticed there was a lot of coffee floating round the top of it. So I thought it hadn't dissolved. So I gave it a good stir, looked at it again, some more of it had gone, but there was still a lot of it on the top. So, unlike me who likes my coffee cool and I normally leave it, I picked it up and took a great big gulp out of it. And this coffee tasted the worst thing I have ever tasted in my life. I kid you not. And all I could taste was coffee and some really strong underflavour that I couldn't quite identify. So me being me, looks in the cup and there was still these brown bits floating on the top. So I dipped my finger in the coffee, fished one out on the end of my finger, stuck it on the tip of my tongue to taste it, and it was gravy granules. So while I was sticking the milk back in the fridge, something in my kitchen thought it was funny to tip gravy granules in my coffee. Now that is the second time in 3 days we have had problems with gravy in the kitchen, believe it or not. But I nearly puked. I can highly recommend do not ever drink coffee with gravy in it because it is absolutely disgusting.
Oh,
Absolutely
dear.
vile. But all I knew was it was coffee with this really horrible strong undertone that I couldn't quite identify what it was. And it turned out that some twat, while I'd got my back turned, had tipped gravy granules into my coffee. And I thought they were, hi Chris, I thought it was undissolved coffee because it was a new jar. Because, Mags, I thought the coffee was off. So I dipped my finger in to see if the coffee tasted funny, the granule. And then when I stuck it on my tongue, it was a gravy granule. And this was the reaction I got all day yesterday.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's brilliant.
Honestly, Andy, it was vile. And I should have realised that it was thicker than normal. It
Yeah.
hadn't gone thick, but the coffee. Hi, Chris. The coffee was.
Hey, Chris.
You could just literally stood your spoon up in it. It was like proper thick American coffee, but it was I just took the gulp and I swallowed it, and it was too late then. And
That's
all I
it.
got was coffee with this really weird. Well, it was beef. It's the best way well, I don't know, Mags, because Jace has brought milk back from Tesco sometimes, and he's been off. Or he's bought crisps from there, and when we've opened them, they've been a bit stale. Not often, but once in a while. So I thought, maybe the coffee hadn't been sealed properly, and it's something had happened to it. Honestly, it was gross. I nearly puked. I really nearly puked. So something in the kitchen thought it was highly amusing to tip the gravy granules in my coffee. But when I looked at the thing after, I couldn't see. Obviously, I wasn't exactly sure how the gravy pot was set up on the shelf, but it didn't appear to have moved from where it was. So how they got it out the gravy pot, and I can't even tell you if it was in there when I poured the water in, because I just poured the milk in and stirred it, and then pulled the spoon out, and while it was still spinning round rapidly, I just took the milk back to the fridge. And it was only when I'd got back and it had stopped spinning that there was all this brown bits on the top, which I presume was just undissolved coffee. Took a swig and it weren't. It was beef gravy.
Oh dear.
But Jamie said exactly the same thing to you. But I do. I'd be really easy to poison, because if I found something floating in somewhere I was drinking and it tastes funny, I'd dip my finger in and see what it is.
Oh, I hope there's some more gravy incidents.
I don't. Or if they happen to Jace. But when I told Jace, he was only laughing. He thought it was funny. And then when he got here, he started to panic then that maybe someone was going to try and poison us.
No, I don't think it'll go that far. But
Well, it's like I said to him, shows you cook with gravy in cupboard if that's a good thing. Well, yeah, but Jace had it rolled at him the other day. It tipped over and rolled across the counter at him, and he was the other side of the kitchen when it happened. So whatever it is in the kitchen likes gravy. It was 2 incidents in 2 days involving the gravy. Like I say, the only other, and I was literally saying to Andy, and Andy will confirm this, the night before it happened. Nothing ever happens to me in the kitchen. That's Jason's realm for things having happened to him.
Oh, I can confirm that.
And I just believe that whatever it is was in the kitchen was having a listen and thought they'd pull a fast one because it was funny.
It just shows that they are listening, though, doesn't it?
It does. Because they literally eat bloody gravy into my coffee.
Oh, by the way, I should really check times when I say I'm leaving. I've got an hour yet.
Oh, I'm all right then.
It's coming at 11:45, not
all right,
11:45.
Yeah. So you're okay for a bit longer, folks?
Yeah.
But it was.
Gravy goblin, I like that.
See, these are all making out. I've got a brownie in my kitchen who's got one on him, but I did actually put some extra stuff out for him, and I ain't had no coffee incidences today. And I don't have them. But do you know, Andy, it was that bad. The next 2 coffees I made, I actually carried them to the fridge when I put
to make sure. Yeah,
when I put the milk away to make sure that nothing was sliding gravy into it while I was putting the milk back in the fridge.
That's really good. So all this talk of coffee is making me want one. I'm just going to go and nip and get one.
All right, no problem. I'm going to drink my cold one. But has anybody had anything interesting happen to them this week? He goes and visits his friend at the supermarket, Mark. Mag said, I once for 3 weeks fought the urge to stick the coffee in the fridge. Eventually I managed it subconsciously and I didn't get the feeling anymore. Alas, my keys ended up there. I've put the coffee in the fridge before, Mags. I did that a couple of months ago. And I left the milk on the side where the coffee normally is, and I picked the coffee jar up, but I definitely didn't put gravy granules in my coffee, because the gravy's on the opposite side of the kitchen to the coffee. But it was gross. I don't, try it if you want to see what it tastes like. It's not a pleasant experience. But I did, Andy. I got paranoid. I carried the next 2 coffees to the fridge.
Oh dear.
I wonder what a roast with coffee gravy would taste like. The opposite way round. Sam, I dread to think. I absolutely dread to think what it'd taste like. Oh God! But you know, it's like Andy's just been saying. It does prove that whatever is around listens. Because I'd literally on the night said, you know, thankfully they leave me alone in the kitchen. It's just upstairs, and then bang, next morning that happens. But I was convinced when I took the swig, I was convinced because it was literally a brand new jar of coffee that it was a problem with the coffee. So I fished a piece out to check, and then found out it was gravy in my coffee.
Oh dear. It is good though.
Well, you know, everybody laughed. It's like, thanks for that. But I think Jace was a bit worried, you know, that it was going, you know, we was going to get. And I said to him, well, it ain't being vindictive.
Yeah.
Because it would have put something like salt in, or washing up liquid, or arsenic, or something along them lines.
Something like that. Yeah.
You know, it did use, you know, a food item.
Yeah.
Luckily, that wouldn't kill. It did make me barf, but you know, and because it was the taste, it weren't because it was doing anything to me as such. But yeah, I just got the impression it was a mischief. It was a trick because I'd literally said,
Yeah.
you know, nothing that, and I weren't saying it to goad them to do it, but it come as a bloody surprise, I tell you. What gravy T-shirt? It'll be gravy bath next. Yeah, Andy said that. I'll get in the bath and all gravy will come out the tap. But I've never heard. Have you ever heard of the Fae liking gravy?
To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. They're a bit weird and nuts, so.
But it was the most awful tasting drink I've ever had. It really was. I was thinking next week, Andy, for next Friday, we ought to do some. If we get some in, do some paranormal experiments with things like ESP and stuff like that.
All right.
With pictures and stuff, and see how well they do.
Okay.
And we can try. We can try it with you as well. I'll see if I can zap you a picture without you knowing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, because there's a couple of things we can try out with things like the ESP and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, we can do it with people on here as well, and if I can do it to set up like a poll or something where they can do answers or something, and then we'll see who of our viewers is the most psychic at the end of it.
Right.
Which would be quite interesting. Throw gravy around, hoping for it to splatter on ghosts to catch the pesky thing. Oh yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea actually. Sam says might go to the woods this week. Couldn't do it earlier because someone decided to lay poison in it and kill the fox and not. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Another wildlife officers and police were examining the area. Do you know we had something? Did you see it in? I don't know whether you got it in your local paper, Andy. Somebody round here was tying lumps of meat to trees with poison needles on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it happened last week. So what you hoping to find in the woods, Sam? You should get Fuzzy Wuzzy out, sitting beside the gravy and ask questions. That ain't a bad idea, actually, Joanne. We could do that on Friday as well. I'll bring the gravy in with Fuzzy and then we'll ask questions if anybody wants to try the gravy. I seen a skeleton of the fox the other day. Oh, Andy would have wanted the skull off it.
I would have. I'd have been nabbing the skull.
If Andy had found it, it'd have been skullless. You can get taste shock. You expect to taste coffee, and well, it was Sam. It made me gip. It literally made me heave because it was coffee with this strange, and I couldn't quite work out what it was. It was just really, really strong. We'll do that Friday as well, Andy.
All right.
We'll stick the
Yeah.
bear with the gravy and ask questions and see if we can work out. I'll leave it until Friday and we'll see if we can work out who stuck gravy in my coffee.
Yeah. See if he'll give us an answer on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See if we can get an answer about who did it. Because it weren't pleasant. But yeah, they'd been sticking poison needles in meat round here and tying it to the bloody trees. And
That's
apparently they'd been doing it to Cumber Park as well in Nottingham.
really. It's
Mm.
disgusting.
Yeah.
I've no words.
Rob says he's the most psychic, Brett. Well, I know for a fact it won't be me. Because I ain't got a psychic bone in my body. It definitely won't be me. Are you psychic, Andy?
I don't think so. Not with stuff like that. Obviously, there's like some. I can get. I get like daydreamy stuff that sometimes comes to me. You
Yeah.
know, like. But it's about situations.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
See, I always put it down to intuition, but there again, who's saying intuition ain't somebody planting it in your head? You don't know, do you?
Obviously, you don't know.
Sam
I
says,
think it were on one of Mags's streams one night when she were doing flipping cards, and only one that actually got right was Becky. She got
Becky,
one
yeah, I
right.
remember that
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nine of spades, weren't it?
Something like that, yeah. We're all like, what?
Sam says she was in charge of sorting out tea and coffee for a group on an outing and brought a jar of salt instead of sugar. Lucky I was the first to taste the salt and ran around to warn people. At least you cleansed the soul, Sam. See, I wouldn't have been happy if they'd have put salt in my coffee, because that would have made me sick. And that was why I said to Jace, I don't think it's anything to worry about, because they used something that, weren't really harmful. Whereas had they
Yeah.
filled it with salt, I'd have puked. Now I always say I'm as psychic as a breeze block. Lol, there's reading tea leaves, then there is grey granular reading. Gravy granular. Yeah, let's try that. I'll tip some gravy granules onto a piece of white paper and see if I can divine anything from them. But honestly, when gravy granules, try it for yourself, make yourself a cup of coffee, drop a gravy granule in, leave it for a bit, and then look at it, and it just looks like a piece of undissolved, coffee just dissolving. And then fish it out and see what it tastes like. It's revolting. Well, if I go to the woods, this is Sam, I will open to the concept of elementals. I trust Andy, even if I have some questions around. Well, this is the exact point, Sam. You can only try for yourself and see what
Exactly.
results. Any suggestions you got for Andy apart from chocolate?
I don't know if you've got a small brass bell, Sam, but if you give that a little dingle before you start asking for them, it sort of it grabs their attention.
Do you think that's to do with the frequency?
Yes. Yeah. It tends to work really, really well. And it'll pull them from surrounding area as well to come and have a nosy. So if there's not one in your immediate surrounding, they can hear it from quite a distance.
And is there any advice you've got for her to be wary about?
In general, no. I think, in general woodland, you'll usually be all right. But yeah, always offer some. You see, this is problem with offerings. Some like you to offer it straight away. Some will accept taking offering after.
Like
But
we
you've
did,
all
like we did with the ones.
Yeah, but you've always got to think that if you offer it straight away, they might just nick it and run. Because we've had that happen to us before.
Great.
They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll talk to you," and then you put it down because they want something, and then that's it. It just goes flat, and it's like, "Ah, cheers for that."
There you go, Sam. So if you got a brass bell, take a brass bell with you. Take some chocolate and just be prepared to either give it away or have it stolen. Basically. We're probably going to be reading in the Sun next week. Woman in Ireland assaulted by 40 irate gnomes. All
dear.
leprechauns in it. It's going to be leprechauns.
Oh, I imagine. Imagine that.
Woman beaten up in woods by 40 irate leprechauns.
Thing is, I could believe that one a lot more.
Have you got a big woods near you, Sam? Mind you, being Ireland, I'd have thought so, because it's quite green.
Yeah.
They don't call it the Emerald Isle for nothing, do they? Oh, she's got
Singing
a
bowl,
bell.
yeah. That'd be good as well.
Oh, she says she's got a singing bowl as well.
Yeah, both of them. If you can utilise them both, do it.
There you go, Sam. You can see if you can get communication with the leprechauns or something.
Well, singing bowl is a water instrument because it's like it's like singing. You know, like if you're doing your element, like I've got all instruments.
Yeah.
You can sing for water. And a singing bowl obviously can
They
represent
don't
that
want
if you're
me
no good at
singing
bloody
to them.
singing.
They'd leave the area if I sung to them, Andy, I'm telling you. I wouldn't draw them in, they'd all scatter. Oh.
Apparently, they're not very judgmental on how crap you are, though. It's just the taking part that they enjoy.
I thought the what's it weren't working. Look at that, 565 points. I'm gonna ice for 500 because I'm gonna lose me 500 points against Soddy. There we go. What sort of fae, if she does encounter any, is she liable to encounter in the woods?
It would.
Yeah.
The full sort of range. Obviously, fairies, elves, gnomes, dryads, most definitely. There might even be a guardian come and have a look. If you get a guardian coming, you're going to feel a stillness. That's then when like a still bubble surrounds your area.
That's like happened to us the other Saturday, innit?
Yeah, that's usually some form of guardian as well, having a look. But yeah, you can get them all in woods.
Mags wants to know when you noticed the fae coming in your box.
Did you feel or notice when the face started coming through your box? Only reason I took notice, Mags, was when they started telling me what they were. You know, when we were getting the words fairy, gnomes, elves a lot. You know, that's really when I started taking proper notice of what were coming through, because they were just upfront about it with us.
You won't believe what Mags has just sent me. A picture of a guy with a big willy shaving it. This is the sort of people I associate with. Do you? I see. I presume you got to build up a kind of rapport with them, ain't you? It ain't something that's just going to happen overnight.
Depending on your circumstances, you know, obviously we're kind of like a really quick switch of a thing, but anybody in general, I mean, I always put it down to us doing this thing with Tommy, why they took notice.
Yeah.
But anybody in general that's just going on curious, then yeah, you've got to build up some trust and you've got to be open to the fact that they're real, you know. I hope Mark Vernon wants to have a look at your picture.
Hang on, I'll forward it to you, Andy.
Oh my word. Send it to group chat, I'm sure at lasses would like to look at it.
4 words. How do you forward it to a group?
I've got no idea.
See if that works. Well, I've sent it, so it should have come through.
Let's go and have a look.
This is the sort of things people send me.
Oh yeah, it's there.
Sam says
Oh
yes.
my god!
Sam says yes. We have woods with the story of the grey lady who saved 2 children from drowning in the nearby lake. She walked them home, but their mother didn't see her, but seen her footprints. Christ, how weird's that? That's creepy, Sam.
In all honesty, Brett, right, that guy ain't got enough blood in his body to make
I'm,
that thing work.
I'm surprised he don't pass out every time he gets excited. I have actually seen a bigger one, Mags, in the flesh.
Oh dear.
Max says, I kept meaning to do a session on the Fae. Now it's just me thinking, but they kept pushing me towards doing it. When they said unseelie, I was right. Okay, I'll do it. Sam says, I was really amazed by your photo show slideshow, and it was really amazing. That was brilliant, Sam. Same with those that appeared in the Samhain photos as well. That was interesting.
Yeah. And that was Cat's capture, that
Yeah.
photo, which was really cool. Props off to Cat for getting that.
Selena said that's where my dad said he would meet the little people in the woods up near you, Sammy. There you go, Sam.
Oh well.
No, you wouldn't, Mags. Don't lie. I have a friend with a 9-incher.
This is more like a 19-incher.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
God, the things we talk about. We won't be doing this in January, folks. I'll be slapping the 18s and over on there. I can't believe I've had to put my bloody Rem bear behind an 18 thing just to be careful.
You know what though?
If you go through your videos, apparently they have already started reviewing them themselves.
Yeah, but
People have said they've started getting them with. Send him my way, Stephen.
I worked some out over there, which is a bit rubbish for some people, that do like to get the revenue. Right, if they're marking out as obviously age restricted, then they get demonetized on video straight away.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, you're seriously trying to kill some channels, I feel.
See, it don't affect me at the moment, really, money-wise, because I ain't monetized, so, I'm alright to put mine to 18 plus.
To be honest, I'm thinking about just demonetizing my channel anyway. 'Cause you can't do it, you can't switch it off, but you can manually stop it on your videos if you want. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about just doing it.
Yeah, but if you check your videos, you might see some of them have already been deemed suitable for kids. If they ain't, you should be okay.
Right.
Because YouTube have been doing them. Because I was watching a video yesterday where somebody had showed their video list and they'd got about 5 of them that YouTube had actually flagged made for kids.
Really?
So, yeah, they've already started doing it.
Where does it tell you that? In your video manager, is it?
Yeah, when you go in your video manager, you know where it normally says age restriction asked by you.
Yeah.
If they've restricted, it says set to made for kids, and then in brackets by YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, Mag says I got a bot going round. My dad was from. Is that Magera? I don't know how you pronounce that because I know Irish areas you pronounce them funny sometimes. Is that Magera? Magera. I know it's up north. Still lots of his family there today. See, we were discussing the other day, weren't we, Andy? Why leprechauns are so prevalent in Ireland?
Yeah.
Because I found out they actually originated in Scotland, but they were more prevalent in Ireland. They're more prevalent in Ireland for some reason.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Because there's some accounts of them that match up from Greece as well.
Sam says I would wear my new red velvet cloak, but I don't want local newspaper headline Little Red Riding Hood spotted in woods. Even worse if that's all that you're planning on wearing, Sam. How have these people got all these points? See, the thing is, I'm always a bit wary about things like mental hospitals and asylums because I can't understand. Because a lot of people believe when you pass on that the soul either heals itself or goes somewhere to be healed. I could understand being a lot of residual energy in a mental institution, but I couldn't see many intelligent hauntings going on there. Could you, Andy?
No, definitely not.
Because why would they want to hang around in a mental institution? I can understand it if it's residual, and it's some kind of stone tape theory going on there, but I can't see there being many, um, intelligent hauntings going on in mental institutions.
Yeah, I mean, what we find with Faye as well is that they like to move into abandoned buildings, like to utilize them. So sometimes they do play up to people that's in there looking for ghosts.
Yeah, yeah,
But a really strange scenario one was it were a children's cancer hospital. It's abandoned, but it were at top of Leeds, and
right.
we went and we were getting very childlike activity when we were first, when we were part of the team.
Yeah.
But when I went back doing this with what I know, and they started telling me what they were, which they come out with elves, right?
Mhm.
And knowing what elves do, that they try and heal. So, and they were hanging around that hospital like, they still had to be there.
Do you think they go there to clear out the negative energy?
I think they can. I think they go and try. I think they do try.
Because I suppose it affects them as it does us.
Yeah,
Probably more so with them considering what they do and the way they travel.
yeah.
You know,
So I thought that were really nice, but
yeah.
then sort of another investigator went and did a blood ritual in there, and I was like, why?
Mm,
Why would you even do that, knowing what that hospital were used for?
yeah. Well, that's interesting. There, have you seen what Sam's put? I got my video talking about copper demonetized this morning, and a lot were saying if you talk about YouTube, it can trigger it.
Oh wow.
The thing is, we all know it ain't YouTube's fault with the copper side of it, but a lot of it is their fault because they knowingly took the data off under 13-year-olds.
Yeah,
So they're responsible in that respect. So it's their own fault they got fined 170 million. But you can't actually hold them responsible for copper. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I've changed all the channel graphics. It's now half spirit, half fae
I
on the
like it,
on the
mate. I think
logo.
it looks great.
Andy drove me mad last night doing that. It took me about 2.5 hours to get it right because it was two separate pictures, two different sizes, and then I had to resize them, split them, and then get them to fit exactly right without looking out of focus. By making one
Yeah.
bigger and one smaller and stuff. But it did finally go nice. But it was my first play with GIMP, and I thought I'd have a go because Jay's mum, my son's mum, normally does my graphics for me, but I thought I'd have a go myself.
I've never heard of that software before.
It's free. It's basically a free version of Photoshop.
All right.
If you Google it on YouTube, there's thousands of tutorial videos on there.
So,
Yeah,
right.
it's been going since 1990 odd. It's actually a well-known what's it, but it's as powerful as Photoshop, and
Right.
you can actually load the Photoshop brushes and stuff into it, and it's open source like OBS, so you can
Ah,
you can get all the
cool.
plugins and stuff for it. Sam says it was the mental hospital that made me change from exploring to paranormal. The EVPs picked up on camera scared the life out of me when I first heard them when I got home. That's why I wanted to know more. Exactly, Sam. It's amazing what actually gets people into the paranormal. Like I say, for me, it was a poltergeist as a kid. What was it that got you in, Andy?
What, into this?
Into the paranormal in the first
Um,
place?
just a general interest from being a kid. Like I used to collect Alt and Explain magazines, from 80s and stuff like that. Just I have always had a general interest in it because of all experiences growing up.
Yeah, so it was the
But
experience. It was like that's what triggered me with it.
yeah, but it was kind of like I put a stop to it with myself. Like in my late teens to mid 20s.
Yeah,
I wanted not to do it anymore because it were like just exhausting.
yeah,
But then it were like going out urban exploring and like having that odd feeling and like, ooh, what's that?
yeah.
Kind of just naturally turned into joining up with our Kyle and filming for him,
Yeah.
and then led us to where we are today.
But it's amazing when you talk to people in this community, the different range of things that actually got them into it.
Yeah.
Like Sam said, he used to do urban exploration, and then he started getting the EVPs.
Hmm.
It's amazing the things that actually get people into it. See, originally I went into the spiritualist side of it, with the spiritualist church, but a lot of what they did set me on a good grounding, but the religious side of it I never subscribed to,
Hmm.
and I never have done. So
I think I'd have been the same with that because we used to frequent our local one, and I once like because like they were doing some like healing, like healers where they put
yeah,
their hands so far away from you
yeah,
and that. And my mum were having some of that done, and I kept looking at this woman. I was like, "Is it out about you?" I was like, "Can you hear me?" Like in my
yeah,
head, I was just
yeah,
like saying, "If you can hear me, just turn around and look at me."
and
And she
look
like
at me.
shuddered. She
Yeah.
shuddered and like turned her head and looked at me. And then she kind of got a fixation, and she was like, "I want you to join us." And I was like, "No, I'm all right."
Boo! I don't like Kool Aid.
I mean, she was a nice woman and all that,
Yeah.
but I was
Well,
just like, "No."
the woman who taught me was, well, she was in her 80s when she taught me, and she was, like I say, one of the few genuine mediums I've ever met, and she refused point blank to accept money for it or anything.
Yeah,
The only money she'd ever accept was if they couldn't get to her and they wanted her to go to them,
yeah,
they'd just ask them to pay the travelling costs. They wouldn't even ask them for out of time costs. As long as they pay for her to get there and get home, that was all. Who was happy.
right,
But one of the first things that woman ever said to me was, if you meet these people, if the first thing they ask you for is money, 99% chance they ain't a genuine medium. And
yeah.
that was one of the first things she ever said to me. Max says I learned on the job. Well, we don't know want to know what you were doing during them living places that were active but trying to deny it. What the places were, or you? To be honest with you, I find energy healing interesting. I can't say one way or the other whether I believe it works because see, I'm a big believer in mind over matter, and I do wonder how much of their own person's belief helps. What's your opinion on it, Andy?
I think I'm a little bit same. I think again, it's like a partnership between you and the healer,
Yeah, yeah.
connecting up and working together mystically, if you will,
Hmm.
with that energy. It's like I don't think they could do it just
Without
off.
your assist, yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's got to be two-way thing.
yeah, definitely. Because Becky's mum were like a Reiki healer, and she once did something on my knee, and it did work. And I was having some really bad problems with my knees, and it did work, and I've never had
Yeah,
it since. But like Becky's got some training in it as well, but she
yeah.
never does it. She never uses it.
Well, she should do. I could have
She see
worked. I could have done
she
it
sees
on
me
my. I
rolling
could.
about in
I was
agony,
going to
and she
say I
doesn't
could have
use
done
it.
it on my back the other night. Stephen said he had a general interest, but also had personal experience of the presence of my mother and a friend and haunted flat. Do you know I have lost um, two brothers and a sister, and I've never tried to contact them.
Right,
And it's never crossed my mind. This is what's really weird about it, Andy. It's never even crossed my mind to do it.
really?
Yeah, thinking
Hmm.
about it, that's quite weird. It's never actually crossed my mind. But there again, they've been gone over 40 years, 50 years.
Right.
One of miss it. It is 50 years, two of them, and it's been nearly 50 years for my younger brother. But I've never
Yeah.
actually tried contacting them. And the thing is, see, I ain't the one for forcing people to come through. I'd rather just turn the spirit box on and see who answers rather than make demands of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never been one. I've never been one for sitting there and going, I want to speak to Great Aunt Flossie.
Yeah.
I've just. There you go. Becky says is really good at it apparently as well. My hands. Do you know Jace is as well? Jace does it when I've got a migraine. He always does rubs my head for me, and I feel his hands go hot. And I've said to him a couple of times, you really ought to look into doing this because I've said to him he's a natural healer. Loads of times to Jace I've said it, and he's always attracted to you, not in that sense, but whenever. But he is
Well, you
Andy. Whenever
suggested
we,
that they should get married over a
yeah,
week.
whenever we're together, he makes a beeline for her, and that ain't Jace at all. He don't seek people out at all, but he always seems to make a beeline for Becky.
Bless him.
Maybe exactly, Selena, and that's the way I look at it. Maybe it ain't meant to happen. Mag says I never wanted to contact my brother, but when my dad died in under a month, they both came through. Exactly, Mags. If they came through and spoke to me, I wouldn't be upset about it. But I wouldn't want to specifically ask for them to come through because, I don't think you can force anything like that because, for one thing, you could be getting something that ain't what it claims to be. You could be thinking you're talking to your uncle or your aunt or your brother or your sister, and it could be some cheeky bugger fake, couldn't it?
Well,
Wanting a
yeah,
piss take.
exactly.
But
Cheeky.
couldn't it, Andy?
It could, yeah. Definitely. I was exactly the same with Peter. Obviously that was requested of me to do that. That specific box sessions for him. Um, but initially I was dubious if it were him I was talking to.
Yeah,
Knowing what I know and what I
yeah,
believe in.
yeah.
But it is what it is.
Have you seen what Sam's put there? I remember walking around the town at night with the Ghost Radar app, going, oh shit, bit embarrassing, really.
That's brilliant.
Sam, you'll be amazed how many people still actually believe that app works. Believe it or not. You'll be surprised how many people still actually believe that Ghost Radar works. Chris put, we can, Mags. It's called Prana. I did it by mistake once. I looked at what's Prana. You ever heard of Prana?
I don't know.
Unfortunately, Jason's at home with his mum and dad because he has to look after it. His dad's got Parkinson's disease and his mum's 70 on New Year's Eve. So, he has to help his mum out a lot with his dad because his dad's bedridden. Can pull energy from chest and hold it in hands to do what you want. Interesting stuff. Stevens put, it's obvious that Jason senses that Becky is... Honestly, Stephen, Jace is really shy and quiet. But you stick him in a room with Becky and he goes straight to her and he chats away like a friggin' magpie. But it's only Becky he really opens up to. Sam's put, Mags there would be nothing better for my friend who died to speak to me, but it hasn't happened and I did try. Sometimes, Sam, I think that can be a barrier to it. I think you can, by wanting it too much, I think you can put a block up of any communication with anything. I think, you've got to let, regardless of what you're trying to contact, I think you've got to let them come to you, initially.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Andy?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And it's like this thing where people keep going into... It was like your video last night when you went to East Drive. There was no bawling and shouting and, oh, come on, do it.
That's it.
I cannot understand the mentality where they think ranting and raving at whatever it is they're trying to speak to and calling them all sorts of colourful names, why they think they're going to get a better response because of it. Personally,
Yeah.
I think it's going to have the opposite effect.
Well, so that's what I'd be doing if I were out. Anything be it human spirit or fate, and they were talking to me like that, I'd just be like, yeah, you
Well,
can
I would.
balls, and
I
just
would.
go quiet.
I would.
I won't even give them satisfaction of throwing something to them. You know what I mean?
No. I'd just follow him home and stick gravy in the coffee. And Celine says, yeah, that's true. Won't happen if you want it. Mags is compulsive gambling again. I bet Becky is as well, I know. Is Becky compulsive gambling?
I don't know.
I want.
She's
Is she still top of the tree? Did you see how many points she had the other night?
yeah. I think she's still there.
But yeah, I don't understand the mentality of people ranting like that at whatever it is I'm hoping to speak to. Yep, she's still
Oh,
top. Jesus Christ, 20,000 points. I'm back on the chart. I'm number 10.
oh
I'm
dear.
rich. But yeah, the people have got some very funny ideas nowadays about any kind of paranormal investigation, and a lot of them, they don't want to learn and they don't want to try anything new. They get stuck in a rut, and that's it.
That's it. That's
You
one
know,
of my gripes is stagnation.
yeah, it's just
It's
their way or no way.
it's nice to see people develop. You know, in whatever they're
You know, if
working with.
if, if somebody said to me, if you go in the woods at midnight, stark naked, and start calling for somebody, I'd try it.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I'd try. I wouldn't, probably not this time of year, but I would try it regardless of how cookie it. Well, within reason, but regardless of how cookie it was, I would try it.
Yeah.
Because I think you've got to be open-minded, and it's like I've said, with things like the spirit box, if somebody could prove to me that a spirit box didn't work, I wouldn't keep using it just because I've liked it in the past. If they could prove it don't work, I wouldn't use it. But as far as I'm concerned, there's just too much evidence I've had personally for me to discount it casually.
I think anybody. I mean, because we've heard things lately about this with Spirit Box, haven't we?
Hmm.
And anybody claiming that now it just don't work, I think that's a big claim
Yeah,
because there's a lot of us out there that's got some stuff that's phenomenally good.
exactly.
You know,
And my argument is, if you're going to do them kind of tests, you need to do them over a long period of time. It
yeah,
ain't something you can do with a couple of people in a couple of hours,
no,
and then just suddenly state that, oh, this is it now. 99% of what comes through a spirit box is crap or whatever, or debunked is just radio, whatever. You can't do it if you're going to try and debunk anything. At least do it on a scientific or as close to a scientific level as you can.
yeah,
Because you just simply cannot do a couple of very short experiments and then declare something as null and void.
yeah. Especially people that's been using them a long time as well.
Yeah,
You know, it's based all their evidence around a lot of that.
yeah,
It's odd claims. I just, to me, it's like there's an hidden agenda for anybody that's just popped up recently and gone, oh, Spirit Box don't work.
mhm,
Yeah, there's something behind that door we yet to see.
yeah. Right, Selena says, "Do you believe in Nessie Loch Ness monster?" Right, Selena, here's my answer on this. I used to wholly believe in the Loch Ness monster. Right. Nowadays, I would say probably I'm 50-50 on it now, because having seen a lot of not just the fact that all the main photos have been debunked, but the studies they've done on the loch itself about the actual fish stocks and population and stuff. You know, there is evidence to ask how something that big would actually live in the loch. But saying that, I have heard that there is apparently a channel that connects Loch Ness to the sea. So it could possibly, maybe not living in Loch Ness, but something could visit it. But, as to, at one time I'd have said yes, I 100% believed. Now I would say I'm 50-50. What's yours on that, Andy?
I'm one of them people where I'm 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 probably on foot that there's no there other
Hmm.
than you know, things that people saw that were a bit odd, but these explanations. I would love the child inside me is going,
Yeah, I'm the
oh,
same.
I wish it was,
I'm the same.
But I'd still like to go up there and still investigate,
Yeah.
and see what the faint area had got to say.
Mhm.
That for me, I think could make a cool video. It's something I might look into doing next summer or something.
Yeah. So it's actually a nice trip up to Fort William.
Yeah,
Mag says, "This is what I say. Our opinions are not set in stone. We learn and evolve. This time last year, I didn't believe in Fae. Yeah, you've got to be open-minded." Sam says the monk in East Drive must be really fed up being called a pussy by these certain YouTube horror entertainers. I agree, Sam. To be honest with you, I don't even believe there's a monk at East Drive. I
me
don't
either.
believe there ever has been a monk at East Drive. The monk is actually a creation of various paranormal groups who've been there over the years, and the dark figure that Joe Pritchard saw has actually been morphed over the years into a black monk. It was never declared that there was a monk at East Drive, not once. Yes, the gnomes will nick your clothes if you go naked into the wood. I agree. Becky said, "Sam, if I was that monk, I would have moved out by now with how people are." Exactly, exactly. And the other thing you've got to consider is a lot of people believe that spirits are energy based. If you've got people going into an area every day wanting these spirits to do some kind of performance, at some point their energy is going to run low and they're going to need time to charge up anyway. Is
Yeah.
what I think. Nothing on it. You couldn't expect anything to constantly be a performing seal 365 days of the year. You just couldn't.
What a terrible thing.
Yeah, it
You
is.
see, there that is saying what you've just said. Just it opens up the thought instantly that it is just a cash cow. That house, isn't it?
It is a cash cow.
Do you know what I mean?
It is a cash
Yeah,
cow.
there's summit there, but why not limit it?
Yeah.
Why not limit your times that it's open? Like do 2 or 3 every 6 months. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But no, that's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah. It is just milking it for milking its sake.
Yeah.
And it's really odd. There's a new book just been released about East Drive, and surprise, surprise, guess who's co-author on it?
Okay.
Bungie,
Yeah.
the guy who owns it, the guy who did, when the lights went out.
Yep.
The film wasn't even an accurate representation of what went on in the place.
Well, no, because they completely cut lad out, didn't they?
Yeah,
Philip.
yeah. Mag says, and people who have charged for sessions one-on-one with the box and now don't. Crazy times. Exactly.
Crazy times indeed.
Because
Well,
it's actually a set command, Stephen. Hang on, let me set another one up if I can remember how you do it, and you can have your own then. Um,
I was just going to say I'm sticking to my guns. I'm carrying on with my spirit box, regardless of what any
yeah,
of them
and I,
say.
I, I am with mine as well. But like I said, Andy, if somebody could honestly prove to me that they didn't work, I wouldn't stick to it just because the fact of you know I've used them in the past, but I've just had that much stuff happen now. I honestly don't think anybody would come up with something that would
Yeah.
prove it one way or. But if they did, I would accept it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Diane. I think she still lives in the area somewhere, doesn't she? I think
I
she's.
don't know.
I I think she, even to the degree she lives on that estate somewhere, but she's quite private, isn't she?
I don't know whether that command will come through straight away because I've only just created it. No, it'll probably have to be. It'll be next time it's booted, probably. Oh, it does. There you go. Look.
Oh.
There you go, Stephen. You got your own now.
Oh dear.
But yeah, because when Joe apparently got trapped in the um, coal shed, which
Yeah.
if you're watching the film was like 5 times bigger than it actually is,
Uh-huh.
he never once said that it was a monk.
No,
All it
it
described
was
was
just a mass,
a
weren't
dark
it?
shape. Yeah.
Yeah, a mass. And that feeling like, oh no, what's that? Yeah, that's all it was.
Mhm.
But yeah, Diane used to get all classic face stuff, and you wanted to read up on it, the sort of gigglings and the scent of flowers which we got in her bedroom. As soon as we walked in, prior to filming, me and Becky were like, whoa, flowers. And
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
it were being from what I can see, we're being playful with him until he started getting nasty with kids over what they were seeing
Mhm.
and experiencing, and then it turned on him, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And that can be classic. That can be classic.
But
But yeah,
I forgot what I was going to say now. There was something I was thinking of then, and it's just totally gone out its age. I can't remember what it was I was going to say now. Oh, it's totally gone, Andy. Oh, I'm losing it.
again,
Yeah.
it's all that gravy poisoning.
I can't remember what I was going to say. I'm sure it was something linked to East Drive. I can't remember. It'll probably pop in my head once with stream's finished. That's how it normally works. But yeah, it's just it's a funny one, East Drive, because
It is.
to me it's just a glorified film set now. And I think the fact that they've recreated it like a film set, don't do it any justice.
Yeah.
If they'd have kept the original stuff in there, fair enough. But all they've done is replaced it with, you know, stuff that looks old. And like when they pasted that old picture of the test card on a modern telly, sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah,
And it's,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like you've just made it, yeah, overdose gravy. It probably was about. I think it was about the monk, Chris. It was something to do with the monk. I can't remember now. But there was never a monk in the original, um, in the original case with the Pritchards. There was never a monk mentioned. Not once. It was literally a black mass in the coal shed that he said appeared. And I don't think he ever fully revealed the story or what happened, did he, Andy?
Not fully, no. I
Apparently he
mean,
clammed up on it, didn't he? Because it upset him that much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, the stayed at house, didn't they? I
Yeah,
mean, he died in bathroom, didn't he?
yeah,
Himself, like.
yeah. Oh, the amount of people who've got dragged up or down them stairs, Selena, is unbelievable. Carl Beatty being the prime example. Well, that's the point. Have you ever been in the garden of East Drive, Andy, and investigated it?
I've been in garden, but I ain't done note in it, if you know what I mean. I just went and had a look at it.
That might be interesting.
Mm.
But it's like De Grey Street. I honestly don't think anything's ever happened at De Grey Street. Because knowing the history of the people who live there and why they're there and what sort of things they do, I think
Yeah,
the claims were probably more chemically induced than
yeah.
actual experiences. I ain't saying it ain't haunted, but I've never seen anything. Yeah, it is funny, Sam, the test card on the telly, but I've never seen anything actually directly, come out of East Drive that convinces me in any way that it's haunted. You know, because his other nickname is the Hostel, isn't he?
Oh, is it?
Yep, that's what it's known as, the Hostel.
Right.
You know, but if you're taking all sorts of different things, you're quite liable. You're going to see things that probably ain't there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, I've done it myself. Yeah, the test card on the TV is funny. But, these stories get blown up out of all proportion and it's just ridiculous. I think the only place where there probably is a genuine, well, the only two places I think probably where there is probably monk activity. One would be Road Shabby in Maltby, round here, where we did the investigation, which was, a monastery, and the other one is probably Stocksbridge. I think they're probably the only two where there is possibly a monk, and I do say possibly. I don't say definitely.
Old Stocksbridge.
Mm. But Stocksbridge is a funny one because that's got two separate hauntings as such, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's got the
Well,
monk.
Becky's heard kids singing round
See,
Pylon.
I've never been to Stocksbridge. I'd love to go.
It's very, very, very difficult. You've just got to rely on pure manifestation
Yeah,
happenings or
yeah.
whatever, because any electrical equipment,
Mhm.
no, it's not happening.
Because it's round
Uh,
the pylon, innit? That's the
yeah,
problem.
it affects K2s, Rembears, everything. It just
Yeah,
they go absolutely bizarre.
yeah.
So it's just pure, and it's noisy as well. Obviously, so picking up EVP is impossible.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, because you got the cars going past all the while.
yeah, even late at night, constant flow on them, and then usually while you're there, you'll get about 4 or 5 different people turn up in cars anyway. So it is really difficult to get stuff done at that one.
Stephen says apparently people have taken items from the garden and returned later. But see, Stephen, you've only got the testimony of people who've got a financial interest in the house on that. And anybody can could say, oh, we've been having pebbles sent back to us and blah blah blah. You know, it's amazing the sort of things you can generate about an house. Max says I need a cable for Carly's investigating my pad. Has anyone got about 20 meters I can lend?
Hmm?
I don't. He only needs about six, don't he, to be yanked up the stairs. That's another place I'd like to go to. The Edinburgh crypts, tombs, whatever they call them, catacombs.
I've done Nidri Street Vaults, which is the one above ground level.
Yeah.
It's above a nightclub, which is really odd, but there's a proper active, apparently, coven room in there.
Mhm.
There's a stone circle in there where a priest of Wicca apparently once trapped something negative inside it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just all stories. But I saw a small dark shadow in there, not ultra small, about 4.5, 5 foot.
Yeah.
And we got a massive booming voice that, like,
I remember you
well,
saying shouted down the
even,
passage, didn't it?
yeah, evens, yeah. It was clearest voice I'd ever heard, and me and Becky just looked at each other and said, "What?" You know. But other than that, it was pretty quiet in there, weren't it?
Yeah. But see, that's
Yeah.
another thing, Andy. Most people claim, oh, someone shouted death or something.
Yeah.
When you hear something like evens, it's more believable because it ain't the sort of thing you expect to hear, is it?
Well, not at all. No, definitely not. Because I made sure, and 'cause all guests were like in talk. We call it the torture room, where there's all old contraptions what they used to torture people with. And they were all having a look at them, and I was like, "Did anybody just speak?" And they were like, "No, no, no, 'cause well, you shall not be named." You
Yeah.
know, but no, nobody spoke at all, and I was just like, "Wow." But it were a really deep, bellowing voice as well.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there used to be well, the flats are still there. Funnily enough, it's where Black Country spirit seekers live.
All right,
And
yeah,
and the use opposite there used to be some old factories. Now, when we used to go as a kid, we used to play around there in the lifts and stuff. Because we lived in houses, lifts was a novelty to us at the time.
yeah.
High rises, and there used to be a factory there, and it had got an open doorway with a big long set of steps going up. Now these factories were all derelict and empty, but you could go to stand at the bottom of them steps at any time, day or night, and you'd hear people walking up and down the steps.
Awesome.
You know, and I really wish that the place was still there because I'd take a trip back down there just to show people.
Yeah, yeah.
Never explained what it was, but you could always hear people walking up and down them steps, but they were all derelict and empty.
Right. That sounds cool. Right, Brett, I've got to dash off.
Yes, well, I'll call it a night for tonight because we've done, you know, nearly 3 hours, so
All right, cool.
that's enough, and we've had a good chat. So I thank everybody for coming on. We will be on Friday. We'll do the gravy granules and the bear, and we'll also set up some little experiments, and we'll test how many of you are actually psychic. And then we can see if Andy can get the Fae to help him to do some.
Uh,
So that should be interesting.
it should be.
Okay, so thanks for coming on, everybody, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye all. Thank you. Hang on, Andy, I've just got to stop the stream.
Yeah, no worries.